will be a little bit sore after the operation.
After?
Okay, and you might not be able to immediately walk.
Will I have to have any painkillers?
Oh yeah, you have all that, don't worry about it. I'll show you how it's like, yeah?
Summer 1988, and Dr. Swee Chai Ang is working as a locum orthopedic consultant at Hexham General Hospital in Northumberland.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, many pieces. So we'll fix that up for you tomorrow, okay?
Amazing. How simple it can be done.
Yeah, I know.
Orthopedic surgery is traditionally a male domain in the medical world, and Swee Chai is one of a handful of women working at this level in Britain. It was in this hospital that she did part of her training some years earlier. Now it is a refuge for her. She needs its warmth and friendliness to help her cope with some shattering news: the destruction of Shatila, one of the Palestinian refugee camps in Beirut. Her connection with the people there goes back to 1982, when, as a result of the television news reports of the bombardment of Beirut, she responded to an appeal for an orthopedic surgeon and went there to work. Hers was a humane response to a suffering people in an incomprehensible war.
I cannot stop the war. I have tried asking people to stop shooting each other. They won't listen to me. I cannot bring in tanks and say, right, if you don't stop this war, I'm going to fire at all of you. I cannot arrest all the soldiers and militia. Do that. I can't give them a home. I've got no power to do that. But at least I can operate on people who are wounded, transfuse them with blood, and the rest of it I really can't help.
You see, the leg is not straight, you see, Sam? Look, like that, you know, not straight.
When I found out the people that have come and I've operated on and get blown up, you know, I just feel, you know, I feel that how could they do this, you know? How could this happen to anybody? But it makes me feel very useless, very small. And but still, you see, I think I've come to terms now, being a few years older, that if I knew that someone I treated is going to get blown up, I still treat him or her, because you have to.
Working in the National Health Service, Swee Chai is free from the insanity of war for a while. She trained to be a doctor in Singapore, where she grew up. Her parents are Chinese, and both had taken a stand against occupying Japanese forces.
They met in prison, actually. Both of them were captured by the Japanese and put in this same overcrowded internment camp. And my father is, he's a first-generation Chinese migrant, so we say. He ran away from my grandfather, who wanted him to marry a girl he has never met. So he ran to Singapore, and that's how it all started. And of course, my mother also ran away from home, because my grandfather took a fourth wife, and my mother just wouldn't have that. So she also made me a very stubborn person, because she is a stubborn person. And she makes me fight for things which seem impossible. And like, for instance, I'll never let prejudice or kind of inequality in society cower me into doing anything which I think is wrong. Because at the back of my mind, I always ask myself, what would my mother say?
Swee Chai married Francis Khoo, a lawyer concerned with civil rights, who'd incurred the displeasure of the authorities. Swee had been converted to Christianity and met Francis, a Catholic, at a Christian meeting. After only 2 weeks of marriage, the government security men came for him in the middle of the night. But he managed to escape.
A month later, they arrested me. And it made me see the other side for the first time in my life. I find it hard to believe that Singapore has got prison cells that were underground, and that I could be interrogated for 108 hours without sleep, and that they have got police dogs, and they had 10 policemen arrest me and threaten to handcuff me. And so when I was offered the choice of either persuading Francis to come back from London, he's left and gone to London then, to come back to Singapore, and or to stand by Francis and therefore stay in exile, I just thought that the least I could do is choose to stand by him.
For Francis and Swee, life in Britain was difficult at first. They were political refugees in a strange country, almost starting from scratch. Here they had no family base.
I was really miserable and homesick, and he is the kind of person who doesn't show what he's feeling inside, and So on the surface, he seems to be very well adjusted to British society in the beginning, whereas I wasn't. I was homesick, I think in Chinese, I want to listen to Chinese songs, I want to eat Singapore food, and I want to see pictures of my mother and so on. Whereas he goes out and he talks to people and he makes friends so easily, whereas I don't, you see. So there was this little bit of tension. Well, Francis, you've got to eat this.
Why? You also got to eat it.
No, you've got to eat it all. It's low calorie.
But gradually they settled in. Francis took up journalism and got involved with social issues again. Today he's the General Secretary of the charity War on Want. Swee Chai decided to pursue her career in medicine, not without difficulty.
Growing up in a Chinese family, I just know that there's such a thing called male prejudice. My grandfather has got many wives and he tried to block my mother going to school, and that's it. So it is something which I thought happened in Asian society. But I didn't expect it in Britain. I really did not. So when I came here, I got my fellowship, became a fellow of the Royal College, and the natural thing to do is to continue choose one of the branches of surgery. And I chose orthopedics, and to be told by people that it is not something for a woman to do just doesn't make sense. I applied for a job which I didn't get. I'll tell you one typical example, and they felt so bad they didn't give me a job. I think they liked me, you see. So they made me stay back, and they called me back and said, look, we're trying to help you, please, we want to make life easy for you because you've come to this country, probably you're new, and you don't realize that surgery is very competitive, and only the best of our boys make it to that, and it is going to be impossible for you, and for your own sake, please give up something which you can, and we'll find you some other job, because we think you're an intelligent girl and you're sensible and this and that and that. And I got really bored. So I just have to smile and say yes, and go and apply for the next surgery job I can find my hands on. It happened all the time.
Can you wriggle your toes for us? Can you? Pull it right up. Very good. You can feel me touch you here on? Yeah. Okay. You just go back to sleep. I think we'll leave you now. Yeah, Miss Meek.
I think those consultants who went out their way to support a colored woman, kind of under 5 foot to do orthopedics, have really put out a lot, to support me, and I'm sure their friends laugh at them and the colleagues do. But if it's not because of them, I think probably my career-wise I'll be finished.
The people...
After 4 hours in the operating theatre, Swee Chai gives up her lunch break to give an illustrated talk to her colleagues.
For those of us who don't know where Lebanon is, this is a map to remind us. It's very much scriptural country, and you can see Damascus, Jerusalem, Haifa, and so on and so forth, names in the Old Testament and the New Testament. And perhaps that was the reason why I was attracted to go in the first place. However, in 1982, there was a terrible war, and in London, I was watching the television and so on, the destruction. I was very upset. So when an appeal came along asking for a surgeon to go out and treat wounded person, I just volunteered and felt that as a surgeon I've got to do something, and I was stupid enough to go, but I have no regrets.
Swee Chai resigned from a prestigious job in the St. Thomas's Hospital, London, to work here at the Gaza Hospital in Beirut. One of the casualties was 9-year-old Milad Farouk.
Milad actually had shrapnel injury through the heel. Yeah.
In the nearby Sabra and Shatila areas, the people were attempting to rebuild their homes after the intensive shelling, but the relative calm was short-lived and fighting resumed. The hospital was overrun with frightened people and casualties. Medical teams worked tirelessly for days, till one morning at dawn, a Lebanese officer rounded them all up for interrogation. As they walked into the ruined streets, they had their first glimpse of the horror outside.
When I saw everybody, the camp massacred, I just felt, why didn't I die as well, It just challenges everything I had. I cannot rely on being a doctor because it just shows me how useless a doctor is. And I cannot rely on hope, It's just a feeling that it's all gone, it's completely finished.
Then the medical volunteers realized that this time it was their own lives that were in real danger.
Well, this group of soldiers took us and took off all our IDs and took off all our overcoats and piled up all our belongings.